Hello, everybody. Welcome to the review. It is 8:02 p.m. Just came out of theater not too long ago after watching Evil Dead Rise. Without further ado, let's go ahead and get into the details pertaining to this film. Evil Dead Rise is telling the story of this estranged family who has gotten together, and upon this discovering this ancient Book of the Dead within this dilapidated apartment complex unit, as per usual when it comes to these type of stories, there's always that family member, whether it's intentionally, out of curiosity, or accidentally, translates text within this ancient book, and the incantations unleashes this demonic chaos from beginning to end. Evil Dead for me came relatively late in my life, around '05 and '06, where after watching the first Evil Dead, I watched the sequel and I loved it. Loved the first Evil Dead. The sequel is even more amazing. Army of Darkness is most likely my least favorite, primarily due to the fact that when it comes to a story like this with so much mythology and lore associated with it, it's my personal preference that it needs to remain within this dark, sinister perspective of storytelling compared to going above and beyond with the comedic realm. 2013 Evil Dead was far more gruesome and bloody and gory and continued to innovate ways in returning to the traditional sense of old school horror with relying on practical effects instead of CGI. Before I get into the details, please understand that horror is not for everybody, and this film is no exception. If you were going in expecting any type of deep philosophical thinking as far as unfolding the meaning of life, this is not for you. If you are not a fan of blood, violence, and gore, and over-the-top scenarios, this is not for you. If you are someone like myself who grew up watching the likes of, say, Freddy Krueger, Hellraiser, Jason, Chucky, Leatherface, Michael, if you are into those type of conceptual-based films, this is for you. Having said that, Evil Dead Rise is one of the most intense, bloody, gore, just gore-tastic films that I have ever watched. This is coming from someone who loves Saw, Hostel, Cabin Fever, Cannibal Holocaust, you name it. It is so far removed compared to what you expect from previous Evil Dead films, and it goes into a different direction as far as the character development. When you think about the concept of a bloodthirsty demonic entity possessing a friend or a stranger or acquaintance or someone that you necessarily don't care about anymore, it's much easier to come to terms with having to rid this individual of the evil. When it comes to this story in particular, you having a mother who is possessed by this demon. How in the world do you come to terms with having to remove this loved one from your life that is possessed? And that is the beautiful concept about exploring with this particular storyline. Lily Sullivan does an amazing job as the mother who is possessed by the Deadites. And it's not so much that her dialogue is funny in a way that it makes you laugh. It's cathartic and funny in a way where it's so disturbing that you can't help but chuckle. Because the dialogue that she says is so venomous and vile and just completely unexpected that you can't help but chuckle in order to relieve yourself of any unnecessary uncomfortable perspectives that you are experiencing at that moment. You have Alyssa Sutherland does an amazing job as the heroine of the film. I mean, one thing that this story really did well is make all these characters immensely likable. There's no one in here, in my opinion, that I looked at and say, they're really annoying. I cannot wait for them to bite the dust. This really made everyone so relatable to the degree of that you want to see them survive. And survive, there's a lot of blood, violence, and gore right in your face. It is completely unapologetic when it comes to the carnage. And tone-wise, the cinematography reminded me a lot of Hellraiser and Jacob's Ladder. You took those initial two horror films right then and there and placed it within the Evil Dead universe. That's essentially what Evil Dead Rise is, and it does an amazing job with realistic acting, wonderful practical effects, lots of blood and violence and tension. It's not so much gore and violence in terms of making you squeamish compared to, say, like Saw. It's tense related. You know what's coming, and it happens so quick that you can't help but think to yourself, well, I'm glad it was quick compared to, say, a Saw where you have the character of Amanda that is thrown into the needle pit and it's so lengthy and drawn out that you are just wincing and recoiling in absolute disgust, feeling the pain within yourself. Everything about this film from the Evil Dead franchise is exactly what I was looking for. It was fun, it was chaotic, it was entertaining, it was intense, bloody, gory, violent, and my understanding, and correct me if I'm wrong for anyone who has watched the film, the director said that there are 3 books within this universe. So I'm guessing that at some point these characters are going to merge, and who knows, maybe Ash Campbell, played by Bruce Campbell, is going to make an appearance again at some point. Who knows? Other than that, there's a lot of references here and trademark. Even though Sam Raimi did not direct this film, there's a lot of tributes and throwbacks to his director style as far as the point of view of the entity and just classic Evil Dead violence over the top. Absolutely recommend it. It is not for children. Please, whatever you do, do not take your children to watch this film. This is not for them. If you are interested in horror, this is for you. As far as my overall rating is concerned, when it comes to the Evil Dead Rise, the performances were great, the soundtrack was amazing, the cinematography was beautiful and precise and pristine. The violence was what you'd expect. So I'm going to go ahead and give Evil Dead Rise a 2 thumbs up, a 10 out of 10. Highly recommend it. There is nothing at the end of the scene, at the end of the film, as far as credits are concerned when it comes to post-credit scenes. Other than that, that is my review of Evil Dead. I hope you all enjoyed it. Let me know in the comment section what you thought about it if you have watched it. And be on the lookout for my next review is going to be The Covenant. And obviously, Are You There, God? It's Me, Margaret, next week. Hope you all remain safe and healthy. Take care and peace out.